Good evening and welcome to Anfield. This is our Matchday Live preview show across Liverpool's social media platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter tonight to sort of chew the fat on the various topics ahead of tonight's game here. Neil Miller and Stephen Warnock are down pitch side with me. They will chat over many things over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. We'll reflect on another Anfield epic at the weekend after that 4-3 victory against Spurs. We'll discuss a good month gone by for the Reds after they had an impressive tally from their efforts in April. We'll discuss whether Fulham are faltering just now, given their recent results. And of course, the boys will try and second guess what team Jurgen Klopp will go with here tonight. Second guess the weather at the moment is the biggest challenge. What coats to wear, how many layers to put on for a game, nobody knows. The contrasts in that press room through there, we're all over the place. But we'll try and persevere. We'll start with what we saw at the weekend. Stephen, you were with me on Sunday for the game against Spurs. I think first and foremost, great entertainment, whatever way you want to dress it up. There were issues for both sides to contend with afterwards, but entertainment value, you can't debate it.
Oh, just chaos. I mean, the game was absolutely crazy. I think we thought after 20-30 minutes the game was done and dusted, but credit to Spurs, they came back into it. They deserved to come back into it as well because of the way they went after the game. Ryan Mason made a few tactical tweaks and then went for it with the substitutions, and it worked for them. But the end of the game was just brilliant, wasn't it? When you think of where we could have been and what the atmosphere could have been like after the game, but to get that winner late on was just absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
great effort, great quality to get the winner in the closing stages, Neil. But I guess in the cold light of day, Jurgen will have spoken to his boys and said, look, you know, some of the goals were a little bit sloppy, a little bit easy. The long ball through the middle from Son's goal, and particularly once said, boys, that can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's left Anfield happy. Those that stay till the end, nothing better than a late winning goal the way it was. I think when you're 3-0 up, you're thinking how many we're going to get today, and that's a natural thing. It doesn't happen too often. The start was absolutely brilliant from the way Liverpool played. When Spurs got back into the game, I mean, we're just seeing the action here, the start of the game. That's a good finish from Curtis. You know, that's his first goal at Anfield in the Premier League in front of fans. You know, he got one behind closed doors when it was the COVID time, and he's a player who's enjoying a run in the side at the moment. Brilliant start. Spurs have been starting games terribly, haven't they? So you're thinking, if we can start well, we can put the game to bed. And when it goes 2-0, 3-0, you're thinking, this could be over. The way that Spurs came back into the game with top quality players, Son and Kane, you're thinking 2 points dropped, but then we ended up getting that late dramatic winner. Definite pen, wasn't it, Steve?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it was... Romero had one of those games where you're just wondering what he's doing. Come back from his World Cup exploits, and seems like he's still in party mode, and it was just a free-for-all against him every time. But credit to Spurs, like you say, they came after the game, and with Harry Kane, they've always got quality, and that can get a goal back and make a game of it.
Do you have games, you mentioned kind of got a bit easy at times. Do you have games as a player, Neil, where you're playing a match and you do take your foot off the gas just subconsciously because you're finding it so comfortable to pass through a side?
Yeah, but it doesn't happen too often when you do have a 3-goal lead and a team comes back. You know, sometimes find it could go 3-1, 3-2. Very rarely do you actually see the way that Spurs did it and get that third goal. Credit, Steve, you mentioned it, credit to Spurs, the way that they didn't give up, the fact that they did fold at Newcastle the week before, but they didn't at Anfield. They kept going, got back into the game, and for them that would have been a really big point, having been 3 goals down, and they would have stayed above us in the league, you know, had they have held on to the point. I think only when that went in did it start to feel a little bit nervy for me. At 3-1 I still felt comfortable. You?
Yeah, I think you did feel a little bit comfortable, but it was always that feeling that we'd hit our peak at the time and we couldn't get ourselves back up to that or get that momentum back. I think the thing with Spurs, or whether the Liverpool players' mentality was that they knew they'd been on a hiding against Newcastle, so it was almost like they'll stop now. They'll stop not trying, but they won't be able to get back in the game because of the way recent results have gone for them. But you only needed to look at the Manchester United result in midweek when they played at the Spurs Stadium, and they came back into the game and he played very well in the second half, and perhaps could have won it against Manchester United.
I suppose what we can take from the closing stage is the fact we now have the benefit of having more bodies to call on, generally speaking, although there's a couple of doubts going into tonight. And someone like Jota has been a real addition, 5 goals in 4 games, and was able to make an impact late on to be decisive.
Yeah, absolutely. You just wonder, had he have not got them goals previously, you know, would he have taken the shot on? maybe have looked to have passed it to Salah, and the pass might not have got there. But yeah, his confidence was high, and the fact he came on and contributed that winning goal was great. I think you look at the bench now for Liverpool and think you've got players who can make a difference if needed. I think at times this season maybe it hasn't been that way. But for Jota, he's in great form. It's just if he's fit, to play. If he is fit, then you think we'd see him start again tonight.
A new month is upon us. We're into May now. Incredibly, this year is flying by. April was good. 14 from 18 points available. There were wobbles along the way. Not every performance was convincing. Not every result was comfortable, but you can't argue with that points return. So the best run we've had this season.
Well, I think even looking over the course of a season, any team that wins the league or gets into Champions League positions, not every performance is brilliant, but you can win games off the back of it. It's about having the mentality to go out and being able to dig deep and making sure that you're organised, you're tough to play against. That's what's been missing this year, is that resilience and that attitude to not concede goals. There's got to be more desire to want to keep clean sheets. That's my personal opinion on it, and I think that's gone out of the team a little bit. Whereas the year that we won the league, I think sometimes it depends how you start a season, doesn't it? And the momentum that you build, you believe it. Yeah, but you believe in what you're going to do. Whereas the start of the season, conceding 2 goals away from home against a newly promoted team from the Championship, you look at that and you just think, they're creating opportunities against you, then that's a bit of a concern. And I feel like that's just continued. But however, the latter end, or this month, the past month has been perfect from a points point of view. Now it's the next month. Can we now go on an unbeaten run again and make sure that we finish the season on a high?
I think the biggest difference is the away form. Never really been a doubt here at Anfield. Always felt as though we can beat teams, and we have done this season. Just that away form. Stevie mentioned it, starting the season away at Fulham, 2-2. Felt like 2 points dropped. Credit to Fulham. But we have struggled away from home too much. So this month the difference has been won a couple of games away from home. That big win against Leeds United was fantastic. The one against West Ham, that could have been points dropped, but ended up holding on.
I think 2 months ago we'd have probably lost that or drawn it at least.
But that's a big factor why that's changed. That's why we're building on, 4 wins in a row with 6 games unbeaten. But that away form has been a big factor to why we've been able to build on the performances, results, mainly here, with those away wins as well.
Yeah, we had away form earlier in the season. It was just terrible. That was the bottom line of it. We look at the league table. It looks, Stephen, for being honest, that we've left it too late to really challenge for the top 4 now. Yeah. 5th might be as good as it can get. But it's interesting, pretty much, Jurgen said again, look, what we're doing now, we're going again, we're building something new. This is work for the long term again. So what we do now does count for various reasons, how we play, the points we get, where we play in Europe, etc., etc.
Well, I think the system's changed, hasn't it? Now it'll be interesting next season whether they go with that system again, or whether they bring in different personnel to adapt the system again and make sure that they're progressing forward. But I think this is a point in the season where it's almost a training experiment to make sure that they can look at the system, see if it works, how to work little things out where the players feed back to the coaches and say, I feel uncomfortable with this situation, or the coaches are saying you're not dealing with this situation in a certain way. But there's going to be new players coming into the club, that's undoubted. I think we all know that, and there will be players leaving as well. It's just who's going out and who's coming in, and what effect is that going to have? Will that change what Jurgen does with the system going forward? Will he revert back to a back 4, or will he continue to play Trent in that midfield and feel like he needs to play him in there to be a creative player? Or is he going to bring someone in and take the pressure off Trent and say, no, it's okay, we've got someone to do that for you?
You both mentioned that opening day game against Fulham. At the time we did wonder, Neil, that's a bit of a blip for both these sides. They won't be that good and we won't be that kind of flaky, but actually it was pretty indicative of how both teams' seasons would go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the big disappointment was we just beat Man City in the Community Shield, and we're thinking, right, we're going for the title again here. We're going to go on a big unbeaten start to the season with victories, and it did feel like 2 points dropped. We didn't know how good Fulham would be. I think they played well on the day, played very well actually, and obviously Mitrovic to me has been a more mature centre forward from the Mitrovic we saw a few seasons ago in the Premier League, and I knew he'd score more goals than he did do a couple of seasons ago. Obviously he's out suspended for a number of games, which is a big blow for them tonight, a boost for us. I thought Palhinha was outstanding for them. I know he's the Portuguese international. I think he's had a very good season. The recruitment was very good from Fulham, and that's why they've been nowhere near fighting the relegation places this season. Bournemouth and Forest, they both came up. They've been down there all season. Fulham have been a really good side to watch this season. At this stage, they've done enough. They're 15 points clear of the bottom 3. At the start of the season, they had so much to play for to try and stay in the Premier League. I think you'll see a freedom. I think you'll see a lack of pressure about Fulham's performance between now and the end of the season, which brings that inconsistency of some good results, some not so good results.
It goes without saying, Mitrovic is the massive goal threat. He's not available. Pereira's kind of next in line after him. He won't play tonight by the sounds of it. Tim Ream's also out. They've got a few issues, and goal scoring will be one of the problems they'll have to try and solve tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge issue for them, but they do have quality on the pitch. It's about how far can you, trying to restrict them from getting up the pitch as much as you can and pressing them in the right areas, and hoping that the quality or the players that come in to replace those quality players that they've got can't live up to them standards. The replacements aren't great. They're not at the level of Mitrovic and Pereira. So, I mean, the game should be, I say, a formality. You should win this game, judging by the two squads and what's happening. But it's not that way. It's never that way.
But it is a good time to play them.
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
Ream's missing, played every game. Pereira played every game, missing. Mitrovic still suspended. You can take them three players.
It's a spine.
It's massive. And Willian as well, whether he's fit or not, he's been a doubt. Will he still be up to the same level as he has been at certain times this season? So I think the position they are, with the players missing, it's a real opportunity for us to get a good 3 points tonight, a good win.
Yeah, they have lost the last two matches, but they were against Man City and Villa, two of the informed teams.
They pushed Man City, though, and that should tell you everything. To push a team like Manchester City, you know what's on the line, and you can flip it the other way and say, well, Man City are under pressure to get a win. Even still, they're playing against a top-quality opposition without Mitrovic, and then they're testing them as much as they can. They're a very, very well-organised side and well-drilled, and understand what the manager is asking them to do.
To the fun bit of proceedings, you guys get to try and pick what team the manager might opt for tonight, or that you would pick. Neil, we'll go with you first. What are you doing if you're Jurgen tonight, knowing how crucial these couple of home games are in terms of the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think the way that Liverpool started the last game, I think it's difficult to make too many changes. One change is all. I just thought the captain, Jordan Henderson, would come back in. He was on the bench, wasn't he, the previous game? I know he came on for the last half an hour or so. I just think Jordan, he may go with starting Jordan and maybe Harvey Elliott could be that one change. But yeah, when the team's playing well, it's settled. I wouldn't expect too many changes tonight.
OK, Stephen, to your selection. Now, you've been bold, not necessarily in your selection, but in the fact you've lined up your graphic when Liverpool have possession. You've got just to demonstrate where Trent is really playing.
Yeah, listen, we'll dominate possession, won't we? And I just think the position that Trent plays, he likes to play in there. Konate's being asked to play that right side of a three, if you like, effectively. Hopefully Andrew Robertson will sit in a little bit more tonight and just allow the forward players to advance and make sure that we're a little bit more protected. I think we got a little bit gung-ho against Spurs, a little bit carried away, and that left us vulnerable in 2v2 at the back. But Trent will drift into that position, and that allows Curtis Jones and Jordan Henderson to play higher. The only other addition was probably, depending on where Jota is, whether he goes with Diaz again, just because he's only come back from a long-term injury. Yeah. He thinks maybe the game time he had the other day was enough for a week, and then he just brings him on as a sub later on.
My formation would be the same as that. The only difference would be the front three would be so wide. Have you noticed that last few games?
Yeah.
How wide they've been.
And then allowing Jones and Henderson to play even further up higher.
No. Let's not start a dangerous new trend of both picking in play form. Our graphics guys can't cope with that. Send them over the edge. There'll be turmoil in the gallery back at base. Let's finish that now and move on to the real crucial part of this show now. We always like to wrap it up with a little quiz.
This was missed the other day. I've heard about it.
I didn't want to, put you on the spot. We'll do it now between the two. It's fastest finger first. Find when you know the answer. You've got a minute to answer as many questions about Liverpool, about Fulham, about this fixture, about football in general. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
Let's go.
OK, gentlemen, your time starts now. Which Liverpool player scored his first Premier League
Harry
goal,
Wilson.
2-2 draw against Fulham back in August?
Nunes.
Correct.
1-0.
Which Fulham player scored both of their goals that day?
Mitrovic.
On Sunday, how many seconds was it between Richarlison's equaliser
90.
and Joe Good? How many?
90. 99?
99. Marco Silva's last match at Anfield was in fact his last in charge of Everton back in December 2019. Now, what scored Liverpool win that particular Merseyside derby?
5-2.
Yeah.
Correct. Fulham's last visit to Anfield saw them come away 1-0 winners in March 2021. They were the last Premier League side to beat Liverpool at Anfield for 19 months until who in October of this season?
Leeds.
Neil scored 6 goals for Liverpool. Which opponent was the only non-English side?
Is that a real question?
Yeah. Who's put questions about Mel's in this quiz? This is outrageous. Non-English team you scored against?
Okay, Olympiacos.
Okay, former Fulham player Fabio Carvalho has scored 3 goals for Liverpool so far. Can you name one of the opponents he's found
Leeds.
against?
Newcastle.
Got at the second attempt. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll ask one more question, just for fairness. Who scored in the 91st minute in the 5-1 win over Fulham in March 2006? There was. There we go. Yeah, I need to have a word with the producer about some of these questions. Tailoring.
What was the final score? Was there a final score? Was there one or not?
No. It's all just
6-2.
Just a bit of fun.
Apparently.
Was it not 5-2 like we beat Everton?
Oh, there we go. He's referencing it back to his previous answers. So what would be good if we did a quiz where you had to answer questions on each other from each other's careers. That might be a challenge.
I
for
remember
later.
Stevie's goal. I just didn't remember the score against Fulham that day.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That's it. There you go.
In front of the Kop, yeah.
Just here, I celebrated.
There we go. Anyway, on that lovely bit of nostalgia, let's wrap things up and remind you what is coming up on LFC TV and LFC TV Go this evening. If you want more of this nonsense ahead of tonight's game, yeah, we are back with Matchday Live from 6:55 with all the breaking team news at 7 p.m. Then at 8 p.m, after all the build-up to the game and all the interviews, we've got live audio commentary. Stevie Hunter is joined by Hughie McCauley tonight. Then around about 10 p.m, we're back with a Matchday reaction show to analyse what's unfolded here at Anfield. If you want more than that, you can get plenty more on our social streams. We've got on Go and on TV. We've got the full match replay from midnight tonight. Then around about Thursday on YouTube and Facebook, we'll get the behind-the-scenes look at what unfolds here with Inside Anfield.
Who was the goalkeeper for Fulham that day when you scored? That should have been a question in the quiz.
Who was the goalkeeper
for Fulham when you scored?
When he scored?
No idea.
That was the question. I don't know. I'm saying, did you know?
Oh, I didn't know. Hold on. Yeah, we're about to wrap this up, and I thought you were going to drop an absolute storming bit of knowledge, and now you've got everyone at home Googling.
Somebody can answer that for. I don't know the answer.
I don't know, but he threw it in. I should never have gone in.
One of very few people to concede a goal to Stephen Warnock. There you go. We'll wrap things up there. Thank you for joining us. If you do join us on Matchday Live, we'll hope to see you around about, 40 minutes' time. But if you're not, wherever you're watching the game in the world, do enjoy it. Goodbye.